Welcome to Massive Beers. My name's Matt. We do the beer stuff here. West Coasty vibes up in this piece today with Tröegs Brewing. It's their Leaf Seeker West Coast style IPA. Tröegs. If you talk to anybody out in West Coast, they probably say, I don't know if the East Coast can really make a really good West Coast IPA. I think that's wrong. As an East Coaster, I would say I think there's plenty of great versions of it. I don't think I've had, at least I don't remember having, and I know haven't reviewed any Tröegs West Coast style beers. Maybe had some at the brewery as a scratch thing, something like that. So when I saw them coming out with this, I kind of got a little hot and bothered because honestly, if I were to pick like a handful of breweries on the East Coast that I would be like, they'd crush the West Coast style, Tröegs would be one of them. So what else we got in the can here? Independently crafted and family owned Leaf Seeker West Coast style IPA. India Pale Ale. They're talking about the color straw, 6.4% alcohol by volume, served in a tumbler. I got kind of a sort of tumbler here. Hops, Chinook, CTZ, Eldorado, and Citra. It's a fall seasonal. We're not even fall yet. Malt is Pilsner and Vienna. Story time. We have rambled through this seasonal foliage with All American IPA. For Leaf Seeker, our brewers trekked to the Pacific Northwest hop fields, yielded Citra, Chinook, and Eldorado. Back in Hershey, we layer the hop notes of citrus, dank pine, and tropical fruit all over the pale malt bill. This West Coast style IPA has just the right amount of bitterness for peeping. So this is freshest by 11/4/25, which makes me think this was actually canned 7/4, right? No, it might be 6/4. So we're talking give or take a month to 2 months old. I think we're okay. It's Tröegs West Coast style IPA. Let's see where we land. Okay. Actually, let's put it this way. I'm so positive this is going to be a tasty beer. I had the option between a 12-pack or a 6-pack of bottles or a 12-pack of cans. I went with 12-pack cans. Likewise, what Tröegs does, it's probably one of the more favored. I like their branding. It just seems as of late they've done a little bit better with it, which is quite awesome. And as far as that beer goes, that looks like what you'd expect from a West Coast IPA. Maybe a skosh lighter than what traditional West Coast IPA has, but super hyper cleanliness with just the tiniest bit of haze. This is not a hazy beer, but if you were to see what I see, there's like the micron of haze in this sucker. Pinky finger, white as white could be had, so this looks all the part of what you'd expect from a West Coaster. 6.4%, not that big, not too small. Give it a whirl. Let's give it a nose. Yeah, it's really lemon limey for me. Lemon lime, citrus, that tropical fruit comes through. It's very much not like a hazy New England style IPA. It's very much old school, very much a meaning of West Coast, East Coast kind of vibes to it. I'm not gonna get big precursor of a danky resinous on the nose. It really is that just bright citrus, bright tropical fruit kind of profile. Again, lemon limey, comes off as it's going to be a nice pop of sweetness here. Hopefully we get that followed through that with that little bit of pininess, that bit of ranky dankiness, but it smells hyper clean and it smells super bright. They talk about a fall seasonal, very much summer in the glass, at least for this guy right here. So let's dive in. Cheers, y'all. Okay, that's a West Coast beer. Yeah, I mean that piney, stopping short of being resinous, so piney little dankiness, definitely coming through, counterbalancing off those sweeter kind of tropical / lemon limey kind of fruits. Finish is relatively dry, accentuated by that bitterness from that West Coastiness. It is very much for me an East Coast IPA. Or West Coast IPA made by East Coast Brewery. I know I kind of started this video off saying, they're going to do it. They can crush it. I think this is kind of what some West Coast people might say. Oh, that's an East Coast version of a West Coast IPA because it lacks that resinous dankiness. They talk about that on there. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. But the two big markers here is this piney brightness and this bright citrus lemon limey / kind of tropical fruitiness. They're in perfect balance, but you lack that ranky dank. You lack that resinous, at least a volumetric version of it. Does that make it a bad beer? No, but not by any stretch. This is super chuggable, super drinkable, dare I say quaffable. 6.4%, not the smallest beer in the world, but at the same time, epically tasty. A super cool change up, especially if you're a big, if you're a big IPA drinker, you like your hazes, start off with a little pale lager, something like that, hoppy pale lager, go like a little low ABV hazy, and before you dive into your double, maybe crack one of these, kind of reset yourself. It's a really tasty beer, hyper well made, almost comes off like lager-like. That's how clean and well made it is. But it again, you're not confusing it with not being a West Coast style beer. It just has that little bit of lack of that resinousness that you get from traditional West Coast IPA made from the people on the West Coast. That's where I think that disconnect might come in for somebody who's super tuned in from the West Coast. Walk all that back. Is it a West Coast style IPA? Yes. Is it delicious? Yes. Will I buy it again? Well, I have 11 more of these, so I don't need to buy any right now, but I will. Let's put it that way. Really well-made beer. Not going to sit here and get mad at this in any form or fashion. Just say it's tickling that West Coast itch while being a little bit of East Coast bias, and I'm not hating on that. There you go. Reviewing the books. Let's talk about it. It's one of the better West Coast IPAs I've had. It's in the conversation. Not Mount Rushmore status. There's some that do it better for me, but man, it is really tasty. Like I said, I have 11 more of these, and probably this will be a repurchase. Valued availability. I want to say I paid $21 for a 12-pack. Off-shelf Tröegs. You can find it anywhere here in the tri-state area. Maybe if you like what we like this. If you like West Coast IPA, but you like a little East Coast swing in there, just a little bit of East Coast DNA, you'll dig this. So there you go. Reviewing the books. Hopefully you enjoyed. Massive Beers. If you want to check me out doing the social media stuff, Beer Massif for the podcasting stuff. Tröegs. Have you been to the brewery? Have you had their beers? Have you had this beer? Let me know all your thoughts down below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed a review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of Tröegs right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers, y'all.